Hello, everyone. What I'm beginning to do is just open your mics, and at your discretion, you can put them off when you're not speaking and turn them on if you wish to speak, add a comment, or if you have a question, if you will. So we got a important show tonight, and as you can see, what I titled it as, because that is how we will start off, but also purvey some more information out to you all. So, just getting set up here. Okay, we're recording. Um, with this, may I have someone speak? Are you hearing me okay? Because our internet here is kind of shaky, but I think it's good enough for to do this.
Yes. Hi, Rick. It's Becky. Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Thank you so much, Becky. So it's a fluent, not broken. It's consistent.
Yeah, on my end, it sounds great.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah,
You're
so
welcome.
that's good. Yeah, I believe you're in the U.S. Are you, Becky?
Yes, Atlanta, right outside of Atlanta.
Yeah.
Oh, you hear me?
All
Okay.
right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. All right. So I'll begin this one with just making a couple statements. We got more joining here, so give me a moment. And hello, everyone. And hi, Anne, and everyone else, and Mary, and yeah, I know a lot of you, and there's some new ones. With I may know you, but it's just your Telegram avatar that I may not be familiar with yet. But that's fine. Um, I'm going to start off because this is very important. Divinely, I've known about this for, I'd say, a week or maybe 10 days, perhaps. And what I've been given, which I wish to share, and I'll be doing a Facebook post on it as well. Um, but just generally speaking, the fifth wave is awakening now. So basically, we had a predominant first, I'd like to say a first prominent wave, more notably in 2012, and every 3 years after 2015, 2018, 2021, and now we're at 2024, which is five waves. So, basically, you can use those 3 years as a time frame. Someone might have awakened in 2017, someone in 19, but basically, if you were to do a what's the word? If you were to do a poll, if you will, of everyone, you would see the majority around the years every 3 years, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, if you will. Um, so right now there is the fifth wave is awakening and coming more into their spirituality. With this fifth wave, it involves a lot of feminine again, which is great. So it's comprised of about 75% feminine, which is very important and powerful. But what's occurring that perhaps most of you may not see or know, what is occurring on what we call the lower timeline, is that these feminine, they do not know fully of their divinity, but they are going through very rapid, intense tests and lessons to overcome their fears and to master that to such a degree that they're in alignment with journey. This, of course, is all ages. It's unprecedented um, since 2012. As we know, typically prior to 2012, it was, with a midlife crisis, if you will, and menopause, when feminine and masculine, would begin to come more into their spirituality. Having said this, typically as the child was the innocence and introduction somewhat to the freedom and magical world, and then each was put into the enslavement world, and had that experience. Then typically in the past, around 45, 47, 50 years old, one would awaken to more of their spirituality, and be more spiritually or even religiously inclined with that, after they have had in the past their life experiences. But of course, more notably since 2011 and 12, this was the very important pivotal point of the planet, that the masses began, not the masses, they are affected, but let's say the first, second, and third waves began to awaken as we went forward. So this was not naturally occurring on its own. It was not random, and it is not random. It is divinely orchestrated to take humanity forward out of the present savagery. And it's been done in incremental waves and divinely regulated, that it's not a flash, if you will, and everyone is there. We are in what I like to say a flash that began in 2011 and still ongoing. It's just that you're inside of the flash of rapid transformation, that you may not really realize that we are in significant big flash. And what can occur at any given time while we're inside of this huge linear time of the flash of ongoing about 12 years, and looks like it'll ongo for almost 2 more years. Said this, there can be the subsequent, there can be the flashes in between, notable flashes of changes in reality, and why there are so many variables uh, in this overall ascension, because you have about 6 billion souls that are ascending, and to various degrees depending upon their divine development. They are affecting and directly impacting reality. And some of the things that you have, one that has done all the inner work, if you will, that is purified to the greatest extent they can be in this now. They are not generating out into the energetic soup of reality any animosity, any fear based actions, emotions, reactions. So they are now generating outward into the creational mix of reality, if you will, more of a kindness, a lovingness, a compassionate, a more of a wisdom coming out. And so it's with these co-creators that are, let's say, the first waivers, or and even beyond that, we had what you would have to call the pioneers, I would say, that came before the first wave, that have been divinely placed for 20, 30, 40 years or more, but they were few. But having said this, these co-creators that are still upon the planet today from 20, 30 years ago are generating a higher reality with their energy. Your energy, your acts, your reactions, your emotions, it all comes out and adds to the energetic mix. And if you are still in fear and negative, in negativity, you generate that out into reality. And hence, this is why it's important and essential that all do their inner work, because we're actually creating a reality where negativity and fear does not exist. So it starts individually, that each one is subjugated to their experiences and their lessons and given the choice, if you will, to choose the higher road, the more virtuous, pure road. And this is part of everyone being in a divine boot camp, because you're actually being trained as co creators of a new reality. And you cannot go into the new reality without having the inner work done. By having the inner work done, it creates the new reality and you can fit into it. Now, there are individual ones that can access, let's say, we'll use the label the fifth dimension, sixth dimension, but it's only periodically and incremental, meaning that everyone will find themselves, perhaps they could enter the subsequent realities or other dimensional spaces for an hour or two or even a few days, but eventually they find themselves back in the duality scenario, at least. Um, so, having said this, there's not the prolonged stay there yet, and there's divine reasons for that. The overall divine mission is to advance humanity and the human experience out of the present savagery and into a civilized, free, and abundant joy, peaceful state. And that's what's occurring. Going back, this next wave that is awakening, there's much of the wounded female, if you will, with this, the wounded feminine. And I need to say this because the feminine are mostly the most powerful creators in this reality, because it is a feminine dominant reality for the simplicity that all life comes through the mother, if you will, in this dimension. So uh, she is the creator for this reality, of course, in conjunction with Father, but all things come through the mother into this dimension. Yet, as we go forward towards the equality of co-creation, equal co-creation, if you will, doesn't mean that men will be having babies and what have you. The gender identities remain, but it's a different co-creating, more so, if you will, from the creating womb, the getting back, touching on many things, as you can see as I go through this. But I needed to bring this up. So overall, if any of you are seeing in your reality, any of these wounded feminine, and the pain is intense to the degrees with some that they will be lashing out and all of these things. It's each one's soul discernment on if there is an opening that you can assist them, but most likely you will need to stand back, that you will not energetically engage with them and observe them from a distance, that you need for them to reach out to you, if you will, and then that's your cue to assist. But it's important to know that this is ongoing, because of those of you that have gone through the trials and tribulations individually, especially the feminine. When you're feeling this, that it's not yours, you need to know where it's coming from, and it's coming from this next wave of fifth wave of both masculine and feminine. And so if you've done your inner work and you feel these excursions, energetics from the outside, you know where it's coming from, and transmute your environment, clean it up to the best of your ability, but don't own the energy, meaning that you isolate it and that you transmute it. Don't push it away. It's important. You're a powerful empath to reconcile and transmute energy from the negative to the positive. And you do this with your consciousness and with your love and whatever other divine tools that you have to do this. We do not leave negative energy, if you will, laying around, because then it would just infect and compound onto another and burden them even more if they are still negatively charged and still going through the early stages of their divine development and process, or even if they're not awakened. And the negative fear energy, what is in the environment, we need to keep clearing this on the individual level, whenever and whatever you're guided to, because we're also purifying the energetic environment uh, for to acclimatize with the new reality where it doesn't exist. So, having said this, all of you, with your empathic abilities and your co creator abilities, since December 24th and 25th, not quite a month ago, you have become even more powerful, more sensitive. So, you need to be more meticulous again your thought, with your spoken word. Your spoken word is vibration, is energy, is frequency. And as a co creator, it affects reality. It puts the commands out into reality. And so you need to be conscientious of this and meticulous with what you're speaking out loud and even what you're thinking. Now, you'll also will see at times, when you're attempting, let's say, to manifest, and also unbeknownst to you at times that you are actually manifesting, you may see not quite the full form of what you manifested or what you were speaking about. Uh, and for example, you may wish a butterfly, but a caterpillar will appear. And the reason why it's not the full butterfly yet is because some of the reality is still distorted to a degree that it cannot sustain the full creation yet, because it's not purified yet in this reality to allow for the great exactitude of alchemy and manifestation. So it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with your manifestation, your co-creator abilities. It just means that the reality is not ready for it yet, and also that it's not divinely approved. So the biggest thing with this is, don't denounce yourself in any way thinking that you're doing anything wrong when you're manifesting, because the real truth is you're manifesting fully. It's just that it's divinely regulated. And I love using the example, all of you can walk on water. We can do it now. We're just not allowed to, because it disturbs the overall divine plan to too much of a degree with, uh, quote, future shock, unquote, and other things. And everything is diligently, divinely regulated on how this overall ascension goes forward. So, blah, blah, blah. I'll stop there. Any questions or comments? And I'll unmute a lot more that have come in. Now, can anyone, Becky, I think, Becky, could you hear all that good before I continue? But I'm going to unmute some more.
Yes.
Just
Yeah,
checking, is
I heard all
everyone
that.
here? Okay,
It got a little bit garbled in there, but I could make out everything.
thank you. If I get garbled, for anyone, please just interrupt or ask a question if you didn't hear something. And I can go back to it. So I'm unmuting. We have quite a few in here. While I was rambling on speaking, I wasn't paying attention on how many was joining. So I'm unmuting everyone now. And as I'm unmuting, if anyone has any questions on what I said so far, um, ask now if you wish, or any comments. Floor is
I have
open to anyone.
a couple comments, if I may. So
Yeah.
what came up for me when you were sharing, it brought up my parents. My stepfather, he was definitely in that first wave way back when. But now he's had COVID and he's declining very quickly, very much in fear. Both my parents are very into the news. But I see, my mom's actually the one that triggered my awakening, and she's very interested. So I see that potential with her awakening. And I think that might assist him. But is there anything that I can do in the process? You said to stay back and wait for them to come to me. But when they do come to me, what can I do to facilitate or to assist them?
Well, excellent. What you do is you really don't need to plan ahead, Becky, because you're operating from the soul. What you will find is you will begin to divinely channel, if you will, and you will say things that is exactly what they need to hear. You don't really need any prior thought or planning, and don't do that. Trust your soul will deliver exactly what they need to hear, even if you may think it's not. You need to trust the message because it's attuned to what they need to hear. And this is important for everyone when you're assisting one. Always trust yourself because even if you say something that doesn't resonate with you, it will resonate with them because it's for them. You're acting divinely, and this is true, with what I do with all levels of consciousness. There are sometimes I need to say to one certain things that doesn't resonate, but they need to have that thing before they're ready to accept the next. So trust this, and the signs. What I like to say in assisting others is, again, let them come to you, and this way you're not expending any energy, and you may be sitting back with your heart, knowing that you can help them, and it is your divine cue to pay attention, to be open and ready when they come to you. Is the best to do this. Uh, there is the rule of thumb, but again, there is exceptions with this, and it depends on the individual to use your divine discernment on when to test the water to see if one's open, or when just to let them be. Because the biggest thing, it depends. If they are going through their process with their biggest fear. And if you go in, what you may do is you will uplift them and prolong them going into that biggest fear, individual fear that they have, which is necessary because they need the experience. And this is so important. It's the experience that puts the imprint into the consciousness that later allows the knowing to be embodied, to choose the opposite. So there are a lot of times you can speak till you're blue in the face, if you will, at someone, and they don't really know what you're speaking about, that the experience becomes necessary because that gets imprinted more into the memory instead of words just ricocheting off of them, and you'll find you'll need to do things repetitively like that. So it's easier on you and anyone, just to look at when they're open and give them, you may have a whole lot of things in your consciousness when you say, oh, they're open. And you begin to give them, observe them when they begin to pull back and reject. So let's say you've given them 15 minutes, but let's say you got an hour of stuff you wish to give them. At the first times you see them beginning to pull back, you know that they have had enough and that anything else you say, they will not be able to digest. So use your prudence and your divine due diligence, if you will, at observing the process and how you can assist them, because sometimes too much it doesn't do anything, and it can also begin to create confusion and complexity. And so you wish to more or less give them one thing at a time, and of course the old thing, if you will, of holding space. But when we use this term of holding an energetic space of positivity, if you will, it also begins to entail the dynamics of what's acceptable to you. For example, anyone in a relationship that says holding space for a negative, there's only so much space that you can hold. They are not evolving forward before jeopardize your space and drain you. So there needs to be that observation with you, with any individual at holding space, not to accept violence or negativity or fear projections into your field and into your space. So you're to be uplifting when they are open to it. But it's important not to hold space, if you will, for someone that is not knowing what you're doing. And of course, someone that's not appreciating it. So it's important to use your discernment in when to, let's say, go into that mode for providing space as well. So with this, it's best to know with your divine identity, and this is what you're doing. You're establishing and developing more of your divine identity upon the planet, and it is a learning curve with this. All of us go through this process, at least to some degree. And again, it's through the experience and the learning that you very quickly compile the knowledge and the wisdom that has all of the solutions into tackling any energetic negativity in any way. But of course, we're still progressing towards that, because if all of you, right at this moment, could fully master the fear and the negativity, you would not be vibrating in this reality. So there is, if you will, what I like to call a divine mechanism that is still within your being, even though you've done all of your inner work. There is at least one subliminal negative uh, um, energetic thing that's in you that can be divinely activated when necessary to keep you in this reality again. For if, and also by being the empath, this is also one of the reasons you're able to stay here, because you're able to feel energy. But during the course of feeling negative energy, it actually means it's in your field. So it's somewhat as well like a grounding agent, and you clear it and then you raise up. But again, there's these little reoccurring little maybe negative things, or density that you feel. It keeps you grounded as well, because we are here for a divine uh, purpose and mission and reason, especially in this amazing time. Could everyone hear me good? It looked like I might have cut out a bit on this end. Was it fluent?
Yeah, you could hear it. It was only a couple seconds where you couldn't hear anything, but I could hear the message. It came through. But I definitely understand what you're saying, or understand what you're saying. I tend to get extremely excited when when someone who is not awakened, starting to awaken, starts coming to me and asking me questions. And I do see that where they shut down, and I have to pull myself back and remind myself not to get too excited. um, but it is an amazing time right now, and to be witnessing this it's awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Becky. Yeah, it becomes so exhilarating and fun, with it as well. So we had the good higher vibrations with those, and of course, the yucky ones at times that ones may need to deal with. And it's a two-way process with this. As I mentioned, we're constantly learning and being trained, in all of the different ways on how to interact with energy, how to utilize it on the co-creator level. And so it's again, you need the experience in the application, which I love, to see how it works, and to discover more about it. But again, it's released incrementally as we go forward. But again, each one, all, it's important to trust yourself, and trust what I love to say is your connection straight to prime creator, mother and father, because that is the strongest bond that you can have to uplift you. And it also, by doing and trusting yourself, knowing you are a part of prime creator, mother and father, uh, this keeps you also empowered, so that you don't succumb to so many negative attachments coming in, if you will. So, and what I need to say, I had another thing wrote down. For any of you, it's so important that we constantly purvey the new knowledge outward to individuals, to many. It all depends if some of you are influencers, the people pass the knowledge freely out there, and this affects the whole ascension as well. the more that uh, the more that we have informed as co-creators, the more information that excels everyone forward. So we're all together, if you will, as a team to affect this overall mission. And yes, I keep calling it a mission because it truly is. Waiting time is not by chance. So, we got any questions?
Break it up a little bit. Hey, Rick. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. I'm just looking to see who it is. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's Gary. It's Gary. So just real quick, everything that you just said just kind of really um, resonates with me. And I had an experience I just want to share a little bit where, I'm a business owner in a kind of a small town, a small community of business owners, and I'm on a board of directors in one of the groups. But it's like a small town. It's not a big thing. It's just every once in a while we get together, we share, we help each other out, that type of stuff. And sort of, I've been in business here for 30, 4 years. So, and a lot of these businesses are new businesses, and we all kind of came through COVID, and a lot of us survived, a lot of us didn't. And then people are starting to struggle again. I mean, the economy is not great. And so, just as I was talking to, one of the people that sort of helps run the organization, I was telling about the experience I had through COVID, and she asked that I share it at the next meeting. So, long story short, there's a time for everybody to kind of speak a little bit to the group, and there's probably about 20, 25 people there. And instead of, giving like business advice, about, inventory and advertising and marketing and all that stuff, I just sort of went to more of a, you know, the place that business people don't usually go to, but it's just more about sort of like releasing and letting go, finding your joy, doing, if you're doing what you really love, the things will work out, you'll be taken care of, your business will get better if you have passion and like this. So I went off without getting to what I said, because I don't really remember, but I really felt like I was kind of channeling this really cool special message, and I thought it was resonating with everybody, and I thought everybody was really kind of grabbing onto it. But like after the thing, like a bunch of people came up to me and just said that I was rambling, and they didn't hear what I said, and that somebody said, "Oh, you got to work on your elevator pitch," and so like a lot of people almost like sort of darted out at me a little bit, and I was, after I felt really good about what I said, but then afterwards I was like, wow, like like what did I do? Like it just felt like it was like wrong, and people didn't get it, and maybe I shouldn't have said it. And so I kind of like was doubting, like questioning, why I said that or why I did it, or was it the wrong message? I was just sort of down the whole thing. And then um, about a week or so later, one of the people that were there came into my store, and he said, he goes, "Hey, listen, I just wanted to tell you that when you get up and you spoke," he goes, "that really meant a lot to me." And he goes, "it was really kind of helpful." And he goes, "that was just really great." And he goes, "I just wanted to tell you and just kind of let you know." So then I just sort of, I got the validation that, okay, well, if it did just reach one person and help one person, then it was totally worth it. And then I thought, well, they're just like a lot of people out there and business owners that are really kind of stuck. They're stuck in the fear and the fear of money and the fear of losing business. So like if you're in that lower vibration, they weren't really hearing what I was trying to say. So I just came to that conclusion that, you try and speak, or you sort of have this like channel sort of message of this higher message for people. And there's so many people that just really don't hear it. You know what I mean? They're not really there and not really ready for it. But I also feel like too, the energy of that, will land at some point, maybe some place will be some bit of what I said that might stick to somebody. They might not even remember that I said it, but it might kind of be validated by something else that they heard it from somebody else, and eventually it turns into a thing that was supposed to be good. So I just thought I wanted to comment on that. Like I felt like at one point, like wow, that was a big waste of time. Like why did I even bother trying to send that message? But then I realized that no, it was exactly the way it was supposed to be. And if it did reach one person who was ready to hear it and needed to hear it, then it was okay. And that it was sort of divinely, appropriate, I guess. Even though I wasn't giving like a spiritual speech. I was really trying to keep it within the business community, but also appealing to that side of, finding your joy and doing what you love to do. And if you're happy and if you're doing what you're doing, then everything will be taken care of. And in the end, if you find out that you're doing all these things and things aren't working out, then maybe you're not doing the right thing, and that's okay too. So anyway, I just wanted to share that because it was kind of tying into what you're saying. Like I feel like some people don't hear the message, and it's not a bad thing. It's just that they're not divinely ready to hear what you have to say, and that's okay too. But there could be some little thing that lands, like you said, almost like the butterfly in the caterpillar. It's just not ready to come to fruition yet, but it's there, and it does have a purpose. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that.
Thank you so much, Gary. Yeah, this is a perfect example of, you know, let's let me begin with this. So, you were what's the word? So you were conscientious that you were channeling, that you were rambling, but you knew it was coming from your soul. It was coming from a deeper place. And yeah, so you were seeding, if you will, is what I will say. You were seeding the consciousness there. And meaning that, even though it looked like they didn't get it, the seed was planted. So this is for all, not to underestimate your prowess, that with everything you do, you are having an effect, whether you see it in the moment or not. And what Gary said, he trusted, and he had to say this. He was divinely inspired at the soul level to put that message and to generate it out through there. And through his trust and his knowing, he stayed with it, and he got the divine confirmation through the guy later, that come and confirmed it. And as Gary's saying, at least, one readily received it for what it was, the inspiration and the upliftment, but also just because the others didn't have that initial reaction, they'll go perhaps and have different experiences, and it may experience you said, and now I see what you, Gary. So yeah, very very beautiful example of trusting your channeling and your rambling, because it all does affect everything for the good. Everything we do, once you know that you are acting from the soul, you are acting from the heart, everything you do is having a positive impact. Yep. So very beautiful. Thank you, Gary. Anyone else?
I have a question, Rick.
Yes, go ahead.
Um, I did some meditations and whatever, and some strong energies had come in and felt like calibration. I don't know. I'm out here going with the flow. Um, Holding space. And I noticed that I have wings. I feel physical um wings, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
this
don't.
is beautiful with the wings. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I was scared to ask this question. So that's why I'm asking it. Um, I notice when my wings, when the more grace that I hold, and these wings go out, and they sometimes they change different colors and whatever. Um, that I feel so connected. Um, and it brings me more grace, and I'm grateful for that, because sometimes I react, and yeah, so I don't know, am I like, is there others out there, or is this kind of like a symptom, a good symptom?
Mm. Oh, it's beautiful and it's powerful, Andrea. And yes, there are others out there. I don't know how many, but I do know there's others out there. And what this is indicative of, when you feel the wings, and also the colors. It's You're connecting with the divine energies and the rays, if you will, as we know the different colors. The energies are assigned different colors as well. that we can, and it's good to visualize these different colors because it gives you an example of what energies, divine energies, are at work. And basically, we have the seven sacred rays, the seven colors of the rainbow, which is designated to, the certain divine energies. Um, so, having said this, no, feeling your wings as well. When this occurs for anyone, when you begin to feel your wings, as Andrea is sharing, when you feel them that they're out around you, this means that you are at least in a higher divine environment or activation mode. And it's important to pay attention to this when you are. And also, what I can say is, just be more observant of your surroundings because there may be someone there to assist. So you've been more divinely activated. Now, what is common as well with the ascension symptoms is ones will feel sensations in their shoulder blades in the certain areas where the wings attach, if you will, as well. And these sensations usually come as ones are growing their wings through their purity, as they're doing their work, and you'll get a physical sensation on the back that, it's for one, let's say you're doing your purity work, your inner work, and then all of a sudden you feel tingling back there, but your mind goes to, is that where a wing goes? Which you're correct. That's where your mind takes you because you're unlocking more of your divine power in the representation of that. And when any, to keep it, more simple, and part of the reasoning why this occurs, when any imagines an angel, they imagine the purity and the power, and of course the grace and the beauty of it, which are, important divine attributes and virtues and empowering states of being as well, which raises your vibration even more. And again, it's through these experiences that cannot be ignored nor refuted. Once you have them, you know them. And if we look at, the, let's take 20, 30 years ago, the way that the society was, and not the society, it was more so the ones controlling the society. They'd have ones that spoke about these things, as being nuts or what have you, or crazy, to keep it hidden and contained from humanity. But oh, divinely, it's just in this great time that speak some divine their divine, the beacons of light. And when you begin to share these beautiful things like the wings with others, Andrea, you will also find that there's more that had the experiences but didn't speak about it. But we're in this time now where it's important for once to speak about it because there are others, and it creates more unity and more support, and it also expedites the process. Unity upon the planet of all of the divine souls, which is about 6 billion, it is essential and important. So, and I love to say, and this is true, what Jesus said, where two or more gather, in his name, if you will, miracles occur. And that is very, very true. And all of you, as you know, with this overall ascension, the more that we have connected and united, the bigger the miracle is. And actually, in the case with the ascension, is creating the whole new, joyous, and free world. So yeah, it's beautiful. Anyone else have a question or a comment?
Can you tell us what we should be doing as far as that inner work?
Hi, who's this? That Sally, was it?
Yes.
What was your question again, please?
What should we be doing as far as that inner work?
Excellent question. So the inner work is what I love to say is the basics at mastering the fear so that you're not controlled from any negativity or outside fear. So it begins within you. It begins within each individual to master, let's say, the greatest fears that you have, and uh, overall the fear spectrum as a whole. So what we look at is impatience, worry, agitation, frustration, expectation, control. These are all fear-based energies, if you will, and actions and emotions and reactions. So when you do your inner work, you are purifying yourself of the control of the fear on you. So you need to do it yourself inside. And what occurs once you begin your inner work process, you will be subjugated to the tests in your reality, in your experience, to begin to apply the resolution to it, which is your mastery to choose the highest and not succumb to the fear. One of the best places for one when they began, to do their inner work, I suggest to look at impatience, and I use this analogy frequently in the especially the past week or so. So what you wish to have is patience. You don't wish to have impatience. And for one of the reasons, it's a fear that causes chaotic, energetic spikes in you. So what you wish to do is to have the patience. So how one of the ways you could do this, I like using the grocery store scenario that you may be in kind of a hurry, and you'll come to the cashier and you'll see 10 ahead of you. And in this circumstance, instead of in the past jumping around and huffing and puffing and going, and all of this, uh, what you begin to do is to remember that you're mastering the impatience. So then what you do is you relax and, perhaps spark up a conversation on a good vibration with one next to you, or look around and observe, and not allow being impatient control you to make you start acting angry and agitated and frustrated. So you relax with this, and then you begin to change your reality as well. For example, what you will find is if you're very, just as a hypothetical example, if you, let's say, if you are relaxed, no longer impatient, that you could go, do your shopping, go to the cashier, see maybe 10 in line, but as you're approaching, another cashier opens, and then there's only 5 in front of you. So you begin to see the more of your miraculous effects, especially if you're a powerful co-creator. Then you also begin to know how creation works and how it's more favorable for you and your effect on others by not acting again out of these fearful ways. So it's be good to begin with something small like impatience, if you will, and just slow down and to know that you're able to control fear by not acting out of fear. And with this, what I also like to say with ones, they like to, as part of their journey, they like to control their life and plan all of this from the old human logic. But you reach such a point, you're to become point of your co-creator ability and your point of trust that you allow for the divine road to be shown to you, that you no longer need to navigate from the old human logic. And what you will find is that it will be in conflict with your divinity and nothing will ever work out. So what you do is then go with what we say, go with the flow, go with the trust, and it's much smoother. So by not trying to control things, you are actually controlling them from a higher place to be more favorable. Because if you're trying to control and plan yourself, again, it's fear based, meaning that you don't have the full trust and that you think you need to control to protect an outcome. Anytime you think you need to protect, that comes from a place of fear as well. And we can take this further, with the children. As you advance any with children, it's more important to become more conscientious and observant at trusting that they need to grow, that there is certain experiences that they need to have for their soul growth. They are no longer a child, they are a soul as well, which has some necessary requirements in their growth. So you don't want the quote overprotective unquote scenario. That is fear based and it will actually have, especially with these children today, it will have adverse effects upon the children and also upon you if as a mom or even a dad, if you are doing this with the children. And if you are, divine, everyone listening here is divine, and you're in some part of your development right at this time. So it's important to know that it is the trust. See, absolute trust is the full lack of fear. And this is what you're building on every level. For when you have the full trust, it is the purification and it is the responsibility to act in divine accordance, which is also virtuous. The fear, the evil, and the darkness, if you will, only resides in a fear environment. We are the light, and where we are going, we reside in the pure, moral, virtuous reality, hence the purity. So it begins, yes, within each individual to do the inner work, to master all of the fears, and then we are all together as a whole, and then you have everyone that is generating a purity, and hence again, it creates the new pure reality we all want. Woo, that was quite a ramble. Did that answer it, Sally?
Yes, thank you. That was good.
You're welcome. Anyone else have a comment or a question?
Yes, I have one, Rick.
Yes, Anne, go ahead.
I felt like during Christmas I had a kind of reset or update or upgrading. I don't know how to name it. And after I started work again after Christmas, it was horrible. And I have been observing that for like 2 weeks now or 3. And I don't know how to make it, not a conclusion, how to interpret or translate my body's signals. So before I get up in the morning, I always do like breath work and getting into the body before going up so I don't float. And then when I sit in front of my job, which is to teach children that don't fit into the school system in an alternative online school. But after like 1 hour, I get so cold feet and I start freezing. And it's as if my brain can't get in there anymore. And I have gotten more hours because somebody got sick. But I don't know how to discern, like, is this my body telling me that I should not go, or is it old programming? How do you discern these two? Is my question. Because I have like no answer. It's like I feel that there's so many layers in there.
Well, there is, and see, importantly, you're feeling energy with cold feet or what have you. So you need to identify within yourself and trust where the energy is coming, what is transpiring at the moment, what is creating it. So you need to go yourself into more of your conscious searching to a degree to identify the source of it and what is actually occurring. But just give me a moment, Anne. I just got to use the washroom, and I
Okay.
wish when I come out, I wished I'll only be a moment, and I wish for you to repeat your question. Just a
Okay.
moment. Yeah, okay, Anne. Can you just ask your question again, please, so I can get more right to the point with it?
Yeah, it's like when I sit in front of the computer and I am teaching, I get what you tell me that I should go into my body. But when I'm teaching, I can't teach and then focus on what's happening at the same time. So perhaps I should remote view it in some kind. But I don't know how to discern whether it's old programming coming up to get released or if it's my body that is telling me this is not good for you.
All right, with this is why it's important to discern and identify where the energy is coming from. Did you say when you're sitting in front of the computer?
When I teach and I sit down, it's as if the energy cuts and all my energies goes up to the head and I go nuts. I have to go out walking for hours after to get grounded again. It's just like my body is like, I can't do this anymore. Then I'm like, okay, perhaps I'm still at the right place, but my energy has changed so much that I need to find another way to do it. But I don't get an answer yet from that. So I was just asking how to translate my body's signals.
Yeah, with this with you, and there's so many things that are occurring, and I know everyone is the same. You'd like to have all of the answers to every question that you have, but again, that doesn't come usually right in the moment. So with ones, this is why you do to the best of your ability to discern what is happening and keep open for the answers. But also, if you're trying to complicate things by examining every detail, you also can create complexity and a confusion and a doubt for yourself, because the more you question things, if you will, without, and by the way, questioning things consistently, it is also fear based after you do it so many times. If you consistently ask, it's important to ask questions, but there is also a point, if you will, once you have know and you received a divine answer, don't continue to question, because then what you are doing is spreading fear onto your answer you already received. So you need to trust
Yeah,
with.
that I know I have a tendency to, but I don't feel I have done it with this. It's just, but I'll go inside. And then I had another question about, no, it's not a question. It's more like, do others also be either extremely cold, like even if I'm in a hot bathtub, I don't get warm. And then sometimes when programs are burning off, I get extremely hot. Is that, and it's getting extreme. It's nearly funny, like yeah, I feel like the extremes in my body are so, yeah, I don't know. The cold and the heat. Does anybody else have that? I had it before, but not to this kind of extreme.
And can I ask you a question? How long have you felt the feeling of not being able to do the work with the children? Has it been there for a good while? And on another note, with the heat of the pool water, I don't know about others, but for myself, I've been able to get into the most hottest baths and the coldest water throughout my life. So maybe that's something that you're becoming aware of.
Yeah, perhaps. If this has been going on for a while, it was already there last summer, but since I didn't have a lot of hours, I could deal with it. But now it's like getting extreme, like I feel so emptied out when I have finished. It's like I get stressed, I get uncomfortable. It's as if my whole body is like screaming at me. So yeah.
All right. And with this, I'll go back to your school. It's important to know that, again, everyone has become more sensitive since January 24th and 25th, meaning that, everything emits a frequency, also your computer. So if you're at school and you have that on, it would be a great idea to identify if you are being affected somewhat by the energy coming from it, because it does occur. EMFs, you pick up on all of them. And of course, if they're more electron negatively induced, it will have a dense, negative, heavy feeling. Going to what you're saying about certain areas of your body and even the core and the whole, when it becomes cold, these are periods of the crystalline content in your body being activated, and there is upgrades and enhancements to your energy, which is occurring at these times with it. There will, which is called the combust, the heat, if you will, as well during certain times and certain upgrades, and it depends on what's occurring with the physical vessel at any given time. Now, also with the feminine in relation to the masculine, with the overall the anatomy of the physical vessel, with that change in evolution, there are different things occur. And one of the things is with the hormones as well. With the hormones in the feminine, when the DNA begins to change, these hormones also must change with their past instructions, because one is going from a humanoid more into their divinity. So having said this, the reconciliation of the instructions with the hormones also must change. And during the course of that, they will be activated to undergo the DNA change as well with the codes and the messaging, because they're also, when you look at hormones, they are also transmitters and receivers as well, without going too much deeper into detail with that. But
Yeah, but
uh,
that
to,
resonates.
yeah, yeah. So I'll stop there. Any other
Yeah,
questions?
I thought first that when I was cold, I was in fear, but it didn't make any sense because I was not in fear. So thank you for that. Because sometimes when I get in fight
Uh,
and flight, I can feel the fear, but this didn't feel like that. So thank you.
No, and anyone that feels cold, it's not from darkness or fear. Cold, pure light is cold. So when you're going through your divine crystalline upgrading and experiences, if you feel cold in a room, it is your a divine presence, because divine light is pure. It doesn't have the density which creates heat, if you will. So it's important to know that when you feel cold in a room, it's actually an angelic presence. It's not a demonic presence, if you will. For ones that, let's say, in the past felt cold in their felt a cold breeze or whatever in their house, and they attribute it to a demonic entity, it's because they had great fear in them and with that association. But what I'm saying here, in reality, the cold is the pure divine light, pure of density. So also when you look at this with your body, any time when it becomes cold, there is also a purification process, which is uh, which is ongoing at that time in any particular part of the body or the whole body as a whole. And when one is undergoing, let's say, a rapid transformation in this respect, it is common for them to be in 85 and 90 degrees and still be cold to the core, if
Yeah,
you will.
exactly. Okay, thank you.
Hmm.
That really helped me to calm down again. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Anyone else have any questions or comments?
Rick, can you hear me?
Ken, who's this?
It's Marjorie. It's the first time I'm joining. I had the conversation with you about a week ago.
Oh, yes, Marjorie. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, since this is new to me, I've been on Telegram but not joined your live. I typed in a couple of comments, but I don't know if you're aware of them. I just wanted to get a little update because you've been posting a bit about, well, it's been posted a bit online about the great solar flash, which you answered when we were on our conversation. And then you went on about the great central sun, which I'm very interested in. And I wasn't able to record the phone call, so I missed all that. And then now there's the whole discussion about I don't know how to pronounce it, the Kali Yuga phase is ending starting on January 15, which was just this Monday. And it's going, I guess, for over a year long type phase until February 5 of 2025. And also, uh, Pluto is entering Aquarius, I guess, tomorrow or the 21st. So there's a lot going on, which is all really wonderful because I keep seeing online postings about how 2024 is like a really major year as we continue on with ascension. So anything you want to share about that? I am really interested about the great central sun because I've been meaning to sit down and take notes from wherever difference between our sun here and then the great central sun. So thank you for anything. Thank you, Rick.
Oh, you're welcome. Was there any particular message again, question, Marjorie, with this?
Well, I'm just basically excited about everything because we're all living right now in this lifetime where ascension is happening for us individually, for the planet, for the whole cosmos. So I don't really have a particular question. I just was excited about, wow, look at all these things happening now in 2024. So I'm just totally in faith, meaning I'm FAITH, faith. I understand it's God's will and it's God's divine plan, and I'm just excited to be here on the journey. And so that was really it. I'm sorry that such a broad, you know, so-called question. So anything you want to share, I appreciate, and what you've shared so far, I really have found very helpful. So thank you, Rick.
Oh, thank you, Margie. Yeah, woo! This is, a great year, and I love to see ones put off the Kali Satya because if you really look, um, well, no, I won't go into the negative, but let's say yes. This is the new age. We know this, and with um, let's say Hinduism and other beliefs associated with this, it's important that yes, that all beliefs come into alignment and prophecies that we are actually in the new age, in the least, and this is the golden age, which is true. So all beliefs, all prophecy, everything has to align with this time for this. As I mentioned earlier in the show, you might not have been here. I don't think not then, Marjorie. We have been in a solar flash, if you will, since around 2011 linear time, and meaning that we're inside of the flash. It's not it's not as notable or noticeable or knowing until we get out of it, and then in reflection, for many, you can look back and see how yes, things happen so quickly with what it with anticipation of what the flash would do, and it's a change of reality, and what involves the change of reality. It's not done, if you will, in the flash of the moment, at least not yet, and it may not be. Things are divinely um, designed to very rapidly, incrementally transition uh, this whole ascension in humanity forward. Central sun does play a part. It depends on the beliefs and the definitions of it. If it's our sun, if it's also Alcalon or Alciclone, or however they pronounce it, it doesn't matter. It all leads to the one place, and that's what's important, instead of complicating things. So, uh, essentially, the sun that we see in the sky in the daytime, it is emitting the codes, the upgrades. There's direct correlation with it at any emissions with certain sensitive ones. They instantly know when there's flares, if you will, magnetic eruptions, when there is plasma released, the different sensations that ones instantly feel with it shows that there is a direct correlation between your physical vessel and your energetic vessel and what occurs onto this sun, what you can see. So these are also, in the least, it does show ones that, yes, irrefutably, there is the connection to the sun. So any mentions of that and the role that it plays in this ascension is very real and can be accredited and attested to by many, and more every day as more and more become aware uh, of what is occurring. So,
Rick, I have something to say.
yes, go ahead.
The sun. So last night I was sun gazing and I was looking at and the clouds started to glitch. Uh, like it was a AI program or a matrix, the matrix that we're looking, I don't know, see through the veil, or what have you. And I found that extremely interesting. So I would like to know your thoughts on sun gazing and that.
Yeah, thank you, Becky. The thing on gazing, that's for the individual that's called to do it, for whatever benefits that they derive from it, and it's part of what they are divinely guided to do. As for seeing glitches and what have you in the matrix and what you experienced, where you see the clouds stop or move or different things, what you are, it's not the glitch in the matrix, it's the individual's own energy on where you are at, your vibration that, let's say, begins to take you more into the multi-dimensional aspects and ability that you have. So when you begin to enter that multi-dimensional mode, you begin to see different things, and it's not a result. You could say it's a result of you breaking through the matrix by activating more of your higher multi-dimensional energetics and ability.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because I was listening to some spiritual music in the background and the clouds were pulsing to the vibration of the music.
Yes, indeed, and it's also you interacting at the co-creator level. Your impact in your connection with creators and your influence in it. Also, your eyes, your physical human eyes, are, as with everyone's, is constantly being upgraded and adjusted to see the more of the light spectrum, and of course to see more into the dimensional realms with these physical eyes. So the different realms reside on different frequencies and the speed of that frequency. So what occurs, you see this present reality, if you will. However, when your frequency is sped up, I will say, then you begin to see the other layers of reality and in dimensions. So where your eyes are capable of seeing reality at a different speed, a different frequency, hence then is your multi-dimensional vision. But also it will occur simultaneously, meaning that you are at least on two timelines, hence the duality, the higher and the lower timeline. But because you have more of your multi-dimensional vision activated, you are also able to see things that others cannot. And in this respect, you're able to see more of the colors that are assigned to the energetics, where the others that are not awakened and not advanced, they cannot see it. For example, you could look at a Merkaba ship that is flashing all of the colors of the rainbow in the night sky, or all of the chakra colors. You could look at that and see it flashing blue, red, green, orange, yellow, white. But you could have someone standing beside you that is not awakened, and they would only see a white star. That's all it would be to them, a twinkling white star. So this is an example of knowing that your multi-dimensional eyesight is activated as well. And with
Yeah.
some,
It's definitely everything that you said, with the stars. They twinkle different colors. And I don't feel like they're stars sometimes. But I also experience times where I almost lose my vision, and people have said it's like an optical migraine, but I don't believe that. Where I lose my vision and all I can see is rainbow light. And especially when I'm looking at someone who is awakened, I see rainbow light all around them.
yeah, with your eyesight, what's occurring is these are diamond light codes, which is coming in with the rainbow codes. So when you see this, it's important, if you wish, to pay attention with what is occurring with the sun at that time. Because I say this because that means when you receive these rainbow colors and different wonky things occurring with your eyes, it's because there's incoming DNA upgrades and codes as well. Going back to the stars flashing the colors, these are actual Merkaba ships. They are mother Merkaba ships, and the reason they flash all of these colors, the same colors as your chakras, is because these ships are assisting with your DNA and your energetic upgrades. And it is these ships, many will be connected to one ship to assist in their overall development. And just today, I'll share with all of you, I remembered because I had to share it with a divine brother and sister. Also, you will experience with these motherships at times that mother Merkaba ships, that they can also have, let's say, 10, 20, maybe even 100 little satellites, probes, replicas of their self, which will sprinkle out sometimes and then all go back into the mother. And it's as a display, if you will, of to show ones that at least these are not stars, that they are actually motherships, they are Merkaba ships, and that there is also a lot more of creation and other things that is all involved with it. So just to keep that simple. What I soon need to do is I'm getting a little bit hoarse in the throat, so I'll soon be shutting this down. But having said that, is there any comments or any other questions?
I got a comment for Ann. This is Milan. Hey, Rick. First, long-time listener, first-time caller. How are you?
Hi, me. Go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great.
So I was listening to what Ann was saying earlier about when she's teaching online. I work online exclusively, and I'm at my computer 8 to 10 hours a day. And like before I even start working, I do my breath work, meditation, all that to ground myself. And then. Speaking of grounding, I use a grounding mat while I'm at my computer and at my desk all day. So I make sure that anything coming in, any EMF or all of that doesn't affect my energy, right? So I'm always grounded to the earth while I'm doing that. I don't know if that may help Ann in her situation, but it definitely works for me because I don't lose energy or focus all day. And I'm literally there 8 to 10 hours a day working, right?
Thank you. Is that called a grounding mat, simply?
Yeah,
If I
grounding
press
mat.
it, will
Yeah,
come
it
up?
literally plugs into the mat and then you plug it into the grounding. I don't know what in Europe if you guys have grounding ports, but if not, stick it into the ground. But yeah, I use that, and I even have one for sleeping. I have a grounding sheet.
But what did you have for the computer? A grounding?
A mat. I sit barefoot and my feet are on the grounding mat. It's plugged into the electrical ground socket and the mat, and they're connected, and I'm grounded
Okay, I'll Google
while I'm.
that because it
Yeah,
really talks to me. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you for that, Milan. Yes, they do work. So I will say this as well, but they do work. But also with any tools, always be ready to advance forward out of them. So sometimes tools will come and go. But thank you, Milan, for bringing this up. Yes, yes, with it. So with that, do we have any more comments or questions? I could have touched on I could have touched on quickly for any that it resonates with. Um, Imagine that you have a what we call an earth chakra energetic center that is typically 3 feet below your feet when you are walking, touching Gaia. So it's down into Gaia, if you will, about 3 feet below the bottom of your feet in the earth. With this energetic center, for any that it resonates with, what you consciously can do, and you can use crystals if you're guided to, you bring this earth chakra up and place it between your knee chakras. And one of the reasons and purposes for doing this is that you wish to activate more of your multi-dimensional ability at transcending time and space, if you will. So, what this begins to do is liberate you incrementally from linear time. And there is reasons for this. Without getting too extensive into it, it's also with the mechanical clock. You wish, as part of your disassociation with that, not being controlled by it as well, and being conscientious and aware that at some point you will not be controlled by the mechanical clock. But let me just get back on point here. So for any it resonates with, you can raise that earth chakra up between your knees, and it begins to allow you to experience more multi-dimensional experiences in the least. You may not know when you are having a more of a multi-dimensional experience until after the fact, meaning that one of the great ways to do it is, or to know, to acknowledge that it has occurred, to acknowledge a loss or gain in time, if you will, afterwards. And, this is one indication that it's working, but it also has other purposes at I don't like to use protection. It's more of a facilitation into a more favorable timeline, if you will. Is what it does as well. So it depends on your trust in yourself and your divine connection, and also your knowing at what is occurring with this and in respect to this. So I wanted to share that for anyone that's it resonates with. You also can do that, and it will also begin to expedite more of your multi-dimensional growth and your crystalline growth as well. Because time is also energetic, and what you are doing is you're no longer restricting yourself to linear time and what linear time can provide for you. Multi-dimensional time is different. Time in the higher realms as we go up is not the same as on the planet. For example, what has occurred, I believe in perhaps November, we had to go to a higher timeline space where energetically only 1 day had lapsed for us, where 7 days of energetic events had elapsed on the lower timeline. So this is also connected to your immortality and your youth, your regeneration abilities as well. It enhances more of the growth and development of these abilities on an individual basis, but it also affects the whole of reality to evolve much quicker as well. Having said this, everyone, my humanoid throat is getting a little bit raw here from speaking loud. So, having said that, any closing comments or questions? Well, this sounds great. Thank you all for joining, and great show, great content and questions, and I'll be on Facebook. I'll be doing a live in the near future to catch up on some things. My and Femke's internet where we're at now is not so great, and I don't feel it would support a Facebook live. It's easier to do a call. It doesn't take as much bandwidth. So having said that, for any of you to know this on Facebook, I'll also be doing one in the near future. So with that, fifth dimension, or the fifth wave, if you will, is awakening, and very exciting times to propel and catapult the ascension, even quicker forward. So however long it takes the individuals of the fifth wave to go through their tests, very rapid tests and subjugations, well, it has a notable effect on the whole. I do not anticipate it will be very long, perhaps a month, with many of them coming out of breaking out of their cocoons, if you will, their cocoons of tests. So always good things occurring. So with that, love, light, and gratitude, everyone, and going to end the recording. Anyone can listen to this recording on my